What's going on, YouTube? Centex Collector here. So I went ahead and bought the full suspension like I mentioned to you guys in the Marlin 7 video. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I did it. Got a good deal on it. I was looking at a 2021 Trek Fuel EX5, and for about the price of that, I went ahead and got this 2018 Fuel EX8 29er. And we'll go through the components real quick. Got it from a guy about an hour north here, cool guy named Brad. Hooked it up. But due to the parts, I went ahead and went with this one. It's just instead of buying a brand new one and having to pay all the upgrades. So we'll run through this real quick. So stock frame like the Marlin 7, got the alpha aluminum frame. Shocks is a big difference. So we got the Fox Rhythm 34 float, and these are the air shocks, which we didn't have the air shock on the Marlin 7. And then on the rear, we also have a Fox Performance Float Evo Reactive. And then this one has a through, it's got a Fox quick release. Can't really see it on it, but it says Fox. And that actually goes through the whole thing. You can pull that spindle right out. And what he did is, I'm the second owner. I bought this from the original owner. He bought a 2020 Santa Cruz. So a lot of his components came off the Santa Cruz because he swapped out for other stuff he must already had on here, whatever have you. So a lot of these parts came off of that Santa Cruz. For instance, got some SRAM hubs with these WTB rims. This came with Bontrager rims. He's got the Bontrager X4 team issue, which was original. We got the 2.4 tubeless up front. So now I have a total tubeless rim and tires set up. Marlin 7, I had the tires, but didn't have the rims. I wasn't running tubeless yet. And same thing, the X4 team issue on the back with their 2.6s. And we'll get into the ride later on with that. Grips, he put on some Ergon, it's like GA3s. I'm not sure how I feel about these. I had something like this on my Marlin 7 that I swapped out for race faces. I decided not to go back to race faces because they felt too thin. So I might look at some different race face or ODI grips. They're a little thicker, like I think they're called looms or cushion or the Crav or Carve, but we'll see. And then I pulled over the light from the Marlin 7, and then he swapped out the, looks like the brakes originally on here or some SRAMs, but he swapped these out for SRAM, but these are level T brakes and levers, front and back, so there's an upgrade there. Then he kept the Bontrager knock block headset and stem, and then the handlebars he swapped out, looks like, for Thompson Elite TR35. So I'm debating on maybe getting a race face, handlebars, and stem. We'll see. I'm not sure if I want to mess with this knock block stem, so I might just get some race face like carbon bars. I've seen some locally on Facebook. And then you can see the levers here for the 1x12 setup. So he's got the Dior XT on here, which I'm not sure if that was on here originally or not. Let's see. I think it was, because it looks like originally had a SRAM Descendant, so that's upgraded Dior XT. And then we got the drop stop wolf tooth chain ring on here. It's a 32 tooth. I only had a 30 on the Marlin 7. We got the Race Face Chester pedals, and I had the knockoffs. I had the Fukers on the Marlin, but those are still good pedals. He's upgraded the chain to the SRAM Eagle, and then the SRAM NX back here, Eagle, and he upgraded the cassette. And if you noticed on my bike, I had the lizard skin. I don't need it here, because you look up top, it's got this guard here, and up on the belly side too, got the plastic here and up here. So I tricked it really good of protecting the bike per se. And then this had a Bontrager seat post clamp, but it stripped out on me, and in a pinch I went to a local bike shop because it's like a 36.4. So thankfully they carried my local bicycle sports shop. It was being bought out by Trek. So I grabbed this Salsa quick release since I don't have a dropper post. He had a dropper post on here, but the 150mm just didn't work for me with my seat positioning. Oh, that's another difference is the frame. This is a large, or a 19.5. Mine was an 18.5 medium large, so I was actually able to fit on here just fine. So I'm under 6 foot, so this worked for me. I swapped the WTB Speed seat from the 7 over to here. Swapped over the Fox bag, even though I don't really need it, but I put a tube in there just in case something really goes bad with here or a friend needs it. And it's got a Race Face Ride seat post. I'm looking at dropper posts, maybe P&W or 1UP. Eventually I'll get a dropper post. Try to find I think I'm probably gonna go with like a 120, 125mm, because that should work for my seat post height positioning. And then I swapped over the bottle cage and the pump from the 7 over to this. And the 7 I actually sold to a friend of mine, and the Marlin 5 sold to another friend. He put this blue striping on here, which I guess works, kind of ties in the blue pedals, because for some reason I don't think the Race Face Chesters come in black. So, I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. Bottom bracket, PF92, which is stock. So I may go to Race Face cranks, I'm not sure. I mean, Wolftooth is a good brand for the chain ring. And if I do go dropper post, then I may just get a Wolftooth seat post clamp. And got the SRAM hub on the back. And then we got the SRAM front and back brake rotors, which the Marlin had Shimano group set and brake rotors, etc. And I was gonna upgrade the Shimano rotors, but now I got the SRAM, so I have to look and see if there's a need at all to upgrade. I think that covers all the components. Like, they did a lot of upgrades. Like I said, the grips he upgraded, the brakes, brake levers, shifter levers, the rims, the hubs, the rotors, seat post, cranks, pedals, chainring, chain, cassette. I mean, that's why I bought this bike, guys. And it had a WTB seat on here, but wasn't as good as this speed one. So I threw that on my Marlin 7. But that's what was the selling point for me, was all the upgrades. Then you're probably gonna ask, why full suspension? Well, you know, the hardtail was fun. Definitely, if you're riding flowy and flat stuff, I mean, I can really hit the jumps with the hardtail really good. I'm still trying to adjust to this. I think the rear shock may be a little springy, so I might need to adjust that a little more. So I'm not hitting the jumps like I used to. And I'm still getting adjusted to riding the full suspension. So the Marlin 7 and the Marlin 5 are great beginner, intermediate bikes, especially if you're just getting into the hobby, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. those are great bikes, you know, getting the hardtail. And it was fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun on various trails. So far, I think I've put in maybe 50 miles or less so far. I've done 3 rides. If you're local to Austin, I did Brushy, Walnut, and Suburban Ninja. And that's where the full suspension, you have a full suspension, you already know. If you don't have a full suspension and you're on the line of, do I need or want one? Honestly, I didn't think I needed or wanted one. A friend of mine talked me into it, and it was a great buy because you don't really notice the difference. I mean, these tires on the Marlin, I had 2.3s. These are 2.4 and 2.6, so it feels a little bogged down or heavier on flat stuff. But when you're hitting terrain and obstacles and features, this thing just rolls over, and it feels like you're riding on a couch because the rear shock, you don't feel all the bumps and things like that. So when you're pedaling, you're not worrying about your butt jumping off the seat and you're trying to hold your feet to the pedals. You roll over and it feels like a couch, and you just keep on pedaling and you're focusing. And then when you do hit obstacles, if you ride Brushy, then you're familiar with quarter notch or double down. I mean, this thing was great because I have the 1x12 on here. The Marlin had 1x10, I believe. And I had a 32 tooth on this. That one had a 30. So I'm feeling all the extra gears. So I have so many more gears I can go through now. And I did quarter notch today, and it was just such a world of a difference. Going on inclines, going over the rocks. I didn't feel as intimidated. I was attacking more of the steeper inclines or rock ledges to go up, and I was able to attack them because I could gear down. Another cool thing on here is on my Marlin 7, I had to come over and flip this way. This one, you actually push this way to go in the harder gears. Same with this to go lower gears, but the harder, higher gears, you're thumbing it. So that's easier too. I was getting adapted to going from here to doing this. And then if you press this down, you hold it down, it'll skip down 3 gears. So I'm trying to adjust myself to that. So I noticed I was kind of like making the chain and the cassette creak because I was going down 1. So I should have bumped it down more gears. But yeah, full suspension if you got the money. I mean, I spent a decent amount of money, double what I spent on the Marlin 7. But I spent less than $3,000 on this, and it was well worth it. If, like I said, if you're on that fence, if you're really serious about mountain biking, you want to go to the next level, and you really want to pursue this as a hobby or maybe even farther, and you want to increase your inclines and riding features and terrain and really getting up rocky stuff. I mean, I'm down in Texas, so we don't have big hills and stuff like the East Coast or other parts of the country, but we do have pretty good terrain. And this thing is great. I mean, for a while, I was like, I don't need a full suspension. But once I got this, after 3 rides, I'm in love, and it's well worth it. So like I said, if you're on the fence and you want to go to that next level and you want to spend more money and you're really active and really want to get into the mountain biking, well, yeah, I would suggest spending the extra money. Like I said, I had a 5, I went to 7. I just bought the 7 back in September, October, and here we are mid-December, and I've already upgraded. But that's, if you've been in, whether it's BMX or mountain bike, you know, that's the story, right? You're always upgrading parts or bikes, or even if you're into motorcycles, you know, you're always swapping out bikes. So, yeah, full suspension guys, if you're on the fence and you have really terrain that you want to ride, yeah, you're going to fall in love with the full suspension for sure. If you're just riding flowy, flatland stuff, then a hardtail is fine. I mean, hardtails are going to do the incline and stuff, but you're going to work a lot harder. You're going to tire yourself out a lot more. And, you know, some people like that, but I enjoyed riding quarter notch today and riding in terrain. Other stuff, I just dreaded even trying to attempt it. Today, you know, I rode it like a champ, and it was really fun ride. Now I could focus on tackling some of the harder rock ledge climbs and inclines and things of that nature. But here it is, guys, 2018 Fuel EX8. Got rid of my Marlin 7 if you watched the other video. Got the review up still, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, highly recommend a full suspension if you got the money and you want to go to that next level of riding. Like, comment, subscribe. Always welcome and love your guys' feedback. JJ out.